Now, what about the quality of the meat that you eat? So like with Safety, for example, he's like, oh, I'll just go through McDonald's, I'll just get a bunch of just patties by themselves. I'll just get 6 or 8 patties and just chow that down. But I think that seems like really bad meat. Is there something where the meat sort of filters out, maybe the antibiotics or the GMO grain they've been eating?
So particularly with regard to beef, so the way animal digestion, we've got ruminant animals, cows, sheep, deer, elk, things like that, where they have these sort of 4-chambered digestive stomachs, if you will, versus a monogastric, which would be a chicken or a pig, which is where most of the food we're going to eat is beef, chicken, or pork, typically here, at least in the U.S. What we know is that, particularly when it comes to beef, and I'm wearing a shirt that says "Eat beef, be happy." I'm a big beef guy. That meat, irrespective of how it's finished, generally is pretty healthy for people. I mean, when I was first on Rogan,
finished at the end or it's whole?
Well, I mean, it's really the differences are at the end, because all cows start out on grass and pasture in the United States. Every cow. In fact, right now there are about 90 million head of cattle in the United States. 85% of them right now today are sitting on pasture and grass. That's just the reality of the system. Now, 15% of them are currently finishing out at a feedlot. That's going to be a large percentage of the cows eventually end up there, and they'll be fed. They'll continue to consume grass and forage. To that, certain agricultural grain products are added. Sometimes corn, sometimes it's barley, depending on what region they're in. But the reality is that you can go to the grocery store and buy hamburgers and you're fine. I've seen people put diabetes in remission. I've seen people put bipolar disorder into remission. I've seen people put multiple sclerosis into remission by doing that. Now, the difference really lies with the environmental impact, because I think that's where the differences come in. It's not so much the human health side, or at least it's not a significant difference. A fellow by the name of Stefan Van Vliet, who's at University of Utah, Fred Provenza at Duke, have looked into the nutritional differences between, and there clearly are. You can look at grass finished or regeneratively finished, which is probably even a better word, versus the typical feedlot finished things. There are nutritional differences for sure, no doubt. However, the clinical outcomes we're seeing have not been significantly different. Harvard did a study on this back in 2021. I asked the researchers specifically, ask about grain finished versus grass finished. They did. The outcomes weren't any different. I've got data on about 12,000 people showed the same thing. So while I am very supportive of finishing animals and pasturing them in a very regenerative way, and I think we should do a heck of a lot more of that, I don't think people feel like they have to do it that way to get the health results, because that's not been the experience.
So it's sort of it's a little bit better, but you don't really see it in the health results.
Yeah, like when I was first on Rogan, I gave him kind of this UFC, grass-finished beef UFC world champ, grain-finished is like the number 2 contender guy. I mean, they're still very, very high-level foods.
So you would be fine going to McDonald's and burger patties?
Sure, I would. And then, you
grab those on the go?
I'd go to Wendy's instead, because I think it tastes better. But
assuming you're getting real meat.
Yeah, and that's the concern a lot of people is, it's cooked in all these crazy oils. And if you go to these restaurants and you ask them, they're like, no, we don't use oils. And the reason for that is because it's a waste of money. Why? The beef already has fat in it. It doesn't need that. Now, if you eat the French fries, you're going to get all the crappy soybean oil and all that stuff. So I don't do that regularly, but if I'm traveling or something like that, if I'm on a road, if I'm in the airport, I'm like, man, if it's just between this and not eating, I'll go there and grab a burger patty from time to time for sure.
And then on the steak, like grass-fed, grass-finished, grass-fed, grain-finished.
Both. Both. There's only grass finished, and there's grain finished. Those are your 2 options. Everything is grass fed at some point. Like I said, every cow that starts out is going to start on grass for 6, 8, 9, 10 months.
But steak from Costco or the grocery store versus having my rancher ship it to me from Texas?
I'll eat either of them, I can't say that I personally have seen any significant personal differences, for me. But there are people, again, I've interacted with literally thousands of people at this point that have done this diet. There are people clearly that'll say, I feel better when I only eat grass-finished products. Conversely, there are people saying I feel better on grain-finished products. So I think it's kind of personalized at that point.
For me, the grass-fed, grass-finished is just a little too tough, and it loses a lot of the flavor like in the steak.
It's harder to finish those animals out. If you talk to ranchers, it takes more skill, it takes more time. You may not be able to do it everywhere in every location just because of the climate. Grain finishing is pretty much down to a science. It's pretty easy. I mean, they've got that built into the system. So, I mean, that's, at least you're going to get a well-marbled piece of steak that's going to give you enough fat, because when you're not consuming carbohydrates, you got to have fat. I mean, as you know, otherwise you'll be like hungry all the time. You'll have no energy.
Yeah. And for you don't do eggs and cheese or any of that?
No, I do. I do from time to time. I've like I said, I've gone 8 years now eating 95% of my diet has been basically beef. I mean, that's literally it. Yeah. That other 5% will be, sometimes I'll have eggs. Sometimes I'll feel like, I'll have a half dozen eggs here and there. Sometimes I'll have a little bit of cheese. But, I mean, that's, fish occasionally.
Do you ever have like a special occasion and have like a bite of cheesecake?
Yeah, I mean, I have it once in a while. Like my kid's birthday. I mean, that happens a couple times a year, 1 or 2 times a year, but it's so insignificant. It's not really any meaningful part of my diet. It's not like every day I'm consuming, 3 pieces of fruit just to balance things out. I'm pretty much, I just eat a bunch of meat and eggs, and that's pretty much it for 99% of the time.
So I've been doing it. To me, it's the easiest thing. I think for me though, I've learned to think about food as energy. Yeah. And like I'm just trying to, and so I kind of eat the same thing every day at lunch and dinner. And like I just like that because I try to take all the decisions out of my life. So for me, it's great. But for a lot of people, you had said earlier, they have to kind of rethink the way they think about food, their addiction to food. Right. And so I'm just curious, for everybody listening here that goes, wow, it sounds pretty cool. It sounds great, but I could never do that. Yeah. So what do you think is the biggest obstacle that holds people back from being able to just, because the diet is so simple, you could just go to Wendy's and just get a patty. It's like, it's the easiest thing in the world. What advice do you have for people who would want to try it but think they couldn't do that? Yeah,
I mean, it's surprising. It's surprising because you think of when I first heard about this thing like 10 years ago, there was crazy people eating all meat. I thought it was nuts. Yeah. I literally did.
So did I.
Until I tried it. And I was able to do it for a month, and it was so eye-opening how much better I felt that I was like, there's something here that's going to keep me doing this. Now, truth be told, I don't think of it as this is something I'm going to do the rest of my life. I may, I don't know. I mean, I'm 8 years into this, so there's a very good chance I might, but I don't pigeonhole myself into that sort of ideology. It's not ideology based. And I think if you think about it, if you have a reason to do it, I mean, if you're healthy and fine and happy and everything feels great, hey, there's no reason to change things. But if you're sick and suffering, or if you're just curious if you could feel better, it's worth doing for a couple months. Yeah. And you think about it, most people do this, like that guy that had ulcerative colitis. It took him 2 years. He fixed his disease, and now he has a diet where he includes a lot of other foods in there. I mean, he's not eating junk, and he's not back to the standard American garbage diet, but he's able to have a more robust and varied diet. In our company, Revero, I mean, we literally take people, some people will put on a carnivore diet, some we won't. Some will just eliminate what we think is most likely to be problematic for their particular condition based on all the data we have. Yeah. And sometimes people need to do it for 3-6 months. And just think of it as a therapeutic tool, get you where you want to be, weight-wise, health-wise, and then reassess and say, hey, can I add some fruit back in? Can I add some rice in? Can I add some whole unprocessed foods back in? Yeah. And most people end up doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, it started with, I read Tim Ferriss's book, Tools for Titans. Okay. And he talked about how there was like, people would have this like breakthrough and they got this light energy and like this brain fog would be lifted. And I was like, ooh, I want that. Right. So I wanted like that performance gain, and it was from the intermittent fasting. And I was like, ooh, that's tough. I really love breakfast. I don't know if I could do that. But I could do anything for 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. Let me try for 2 weeks. Right, yeah. And I haven't stopped. It's been a decade, And so maybe people could just try to like that bite-sized chunk. And then it was like, okay, but then I eat lunch and then I go downhill. So what's going on with my lunch? And then it was like I kind of picked away at it,
Yeah, I mean, the way I started carnivore, I literally did one meal. I was like, I woke up one morning, I said, I'm going to have steak and eggs for breakfast, and I'm not going to have a piece of toast. I'm not going to have some oranges. I'm not going to have a cup of yogurt. I'm not going to have a piece of fruit. And I got through the meal. I was like, hey, that wasn't that bad. Yeah. And then the next day I did 2 meals, and I just kind of added on until I got to a month, and then, I haven't looked back since then.